Thank you so much, Paul, for that introduction. And I'm very excited today to have my friend Brenda Casey. And we've come to know each other through a networking organization called Women Entrepreneurs of Oregon. And through that, I have also hired Brenda Casey and her company, Casey's Plumbing, to help me in my house because I've heard such glowing, wonderful reports about them. I couldn't wait to have them. So to me, I saw her as an opportunity to talk about B2C situations, customer service, follow-up, and specifically two topics in particular: reputation management and the fact that your competitors don't have to be the enemy. And so I want to welcome you, Brenda. You are the owner of Casey's Plumbing. You started back in 1984, and you are in the Portland, Oregon area with how many trucks now?
We have currently on the road 5 plumbing trucks, and then we also have a sister company, 2 electrical trucks.
Terrific. Well, I know that whenever I need you, I call and you're there within very short amount of time. I never have to worry. So welcome to the show, and let's start our visit.
Okay.
Now, the other night, you and I were talking about interesting customer service practices. And one of the things I have to laugh about is because when Casey's came to see us, we had some toilet issues and stuff, and they didn't have a lot to do. They couldn't make it break, as it always is. You know, the car never breaks when you take it to the mechanic, and the plumbing never breaks when the plumber's there. But they went through and filled the time by inspecting everything to make sure it was all fine, and left little love notes all over inside our toilet tank. Hi, call Casey's Plumbing. My kids crack up. They look at everything in the house that has plumbing. They look under the sink, and it's almost like a treasure hunt. Where has Casey's been? So I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about a recent experience that you had where you guys were slammed and you could not meet the needs of one of your customers.
Right. There was this particular customer. They had a kitchen sink clog, and they had waited 3 days before they had called us in. We had them scheduled on the board, and it was earlier in the day of their appointment. We had to push it back because we had other customers whose jobs we were doing additional work that they requested while we're there, and it just kept getting pushed back. And here it was Friday, and they really didn't want to go for the weekend with no kitchen sink.
Right.
And I said, look, what if I call another company and they come out and we'll pay the bill?
Okay, so wait a minute. So you're calling a competitor, because anybody else that does what you do is a competitor, but I also know not everybody is truly the same tier level that you are. You're a high-end plumber. I mean, you are not Roto-Rooter.
That is right.
This
is a drain cleaning company. You know, they clean out drains, and they're family-owned and operated. And they have they do a drug screening on their employees. So I felt I could send this, refer this other company to service Casey's Plumbing. And, people say, oh, why would you want to do that? You're going to lose your customer. Because it's because of our client. They trust us, and they've built up, a long-term relationship. This customer is still a customer of ours. They've called us back, and the main thing was to get them to have service. And so even if we cannot meet that need, I'm helping a customer, and that is what really it comes down to. When you're without something, and you've got whatever it is that's going on in your life, and you need your plumbing to be fixed, and if for whatever reason you're not a Diamond Club member, which you get priority service if you are a Diamond Club member at Casey's Plumbing, we still want to help you out. So.
Now, let me ask though, have any of your competitors reciprocated on this before? Have you been called on by your competitors to help them out of a jam?
It was a while ago. There was another plumbing company that did not service a particular area that we did, and we would refer back and forth. They would service out out in Banks or
right.
Cornelius that we did not service. And, she did not service like Troutdale and Fairview. So we
Right.
did that. That was kind of a mutual thing. And there would be on occasion, we would, I'm sorry. Yeah, you need, I understand this is your only toilet in your house, but, I can refer you to another
Right.
company that has the same standards we do as far as background check and drug testing their employees. So
that's, I think, a key thing is to, I go back to the movie Miracle on 34th Street, where Santa Claus referred people from Macy's to Gimbles. And so it became this reciprocal, or maybe I got it mixed up, but one to the biggest competitor that was very similar to them. And I even have alliances. I have people that do what I do with the quality that I do and that I would be comfortable. Gosh, I can't get your project. I've developed several alliances with people that I know that, okay, I can't do it, but I'm comfortable giving you to them because I know they'll take care of you. And I think that's important for us if we're truly in a service business, or even a retail business, but especially service businesses. Create alliances, strategic alliances, not just with people that do things that don't compete with you, but with direct, in a way, competitors, as you've said. Even if you had 20 trucks, there is
Yes.
still enough business to go around for quite a few of you. And so to create an alliance to everybody can actually maybe focus more on their exact niche market. Their ideal customer might be slightly different. I mean, we have a mutual friend that she does really well with book authors. That is her focus for social media and promoting and PR. And I do better with organizations and cities. And so, when an author comes up to me and says they need something, I'll send them over to her because I know she can take care of them better because she has the tools to do that
and
better than I
we
do.
have similar things like that. Like, we really don't do remodel projects, changing a closet to a bathroom.
Right.
But there is a plumber out there that's his niche. That's what he enjoys. And he does refer to us.
Exactly.
So it's a mutual thing that way. But I also have, we don't do commercial type work, working on urinals, that type of a thing. And we refer out,
Well, yeah. So it's the same thing, though. Right. So it's the same thing, those strategic alliances. And I think that, as we are part of this larger community where we all engage each other more than we ever did before, some people say, oh, we don't, get in touch with people anymore because of social media.
Right.
We engage more than ever, but not necessarily in person. I do actually more video conferences now because it's convenient and I can see, as a solo entrepreneur, it's me. I have a few partners I work with, but it's pretty much just me. It can get kind of lonely. And that need for collaboration and to see facial expressions and to truly feel and hear the laughter coming through in a conversation, it's a better way to connect. And so I think we have an opportunity to really reach out even more and expand our network and better
and I
service
think I
all
shared
of our
with
customers.
you, Susan, if
the
I was
paranoia
fortunate
it doesn't have to be cutthroat.
Capture 5% of the Portland metro area of my, client, my ideal client, it would be, 5%, which would be to service that small amount. I would need to have 20 trucks. So, there's lots of pie, I don't have to be like, the type of things that people like from our company, how our guys conduct themselves in their home, how they educate the homeowner so that what things to look for so that your home is protected. It's always best to catch a small problem with a small cost rather than it going into a larger cost for a larger problem. And a lot of people are unaware of certain things to look for in their plumbing system. That's what we do.
Right. Well, I understand that, but you're able to focus because you're not doing the splatter shot to try and get everybody. You're able to truly train your team better, hone your services to what you do the very best, focus on them, focus on having quality products that you take care of for your customers. And I think, again, any service or product business, that's what you want to do. We're learning that you can't be a specialist in everything. It does not work. And you burn out, or you don't service the customer well enough, which starts to bring me to another topic, and that is reputation management. And some ways that we outreach to try and build our reputations, to build the reviews, to build the followers, which gets the word of mouth out, because we know the credibility comes from people that you trust telling you about a company. Like, oh, well, she says so. And then on the other hand, I have people that they'll tell me about a movie they like. It's like, oh, she likes that? I would like that. I have that happen with restaurants too. It's
funny.
Like, ooh, I've seen where she likes to go. No.
I
read
the online reviews, and we have a couple of ways that we gather feedback from customers. One is that at the end of the service, our plumber, our technician, they hand the customer a survey form and an envelope, and they say, I'm going to go out to my truck and check in with the office, and while I'm out there, if you could please fill this out, seal it up in the envelope. And so that's one way, Yes, that's right.
Well, I know you require that too. I mean, good or bad, if they're angry, whatever it is, because you follow up the next day, and I've had this experience.
That is correct.
Did they give you that survey?
Because we want to know what it is.
You do that with everybody, even when they're angry.
We are not the cheapest in town, because what we offer, no one else offers. The long-term quality parts. A best client for us is someone who's a homeowner planning on being in their home 2 years or more because of our warranties. We stand behind our warranties. And over in our reviews, online reviews, right. Yes, they're expensive, but they're worth it, And if you want peace of mind, if it is a home that you're investing in, there is
right.
a higher cost. And so, when
Yes. I don't want to be the cheapest service provider. I have people that want to be, and they'll constant. And do you find this true though? I find women, in particular, especially not necessarily. You have a larger company with a lot of people under you, but I find women are very quick before you would even think to ask them. But they do two things: they ask for a discount, and they offer one. They immediately denounce their rates and downplay their worth.
Well,
and immediately say, "Oh, but it'll be
I
less
know what
for
it
you.
costs.
I could do better."
Right.
And don't you notice that?
Maybe the women who do that, who discount their services,
well, no,
maybe they're not looking at the
business.
true cost of doing business. I have to have my prices where they are so that I can be able to still be here the year and the year after to take care of my continuing clients, and I think people who want to do that, what they're saying is, I'm not really worth it.
I understand that, but do you... Exactly. That's but I don't notice men doing that. I have yet, at least in the last few years, I can't recall one man I've done business with that would immediately start to discount.
Right.
It'll be less. And I'm not just saying about our networking group, because we're in a women's networking group, so it's all women and we all help each other out. But our rates are our rates, and we respect that in each other. But I watch the ones, especially the ones that are struggling, and I wonder which came first. The struggle, so they started to discount to get desperate, or have they always done that? So to me, it demonstrates they don't have confidence in what they do.
I think it's probably
they don't feel that
like
anybody else
there's
does
a fear,
either.
an unknown,
and they become kind of desperate.
If you were to raise your prices 10%, there are some customers you're going to lose, but then because you've raised your prices 10%, you're actually going to be ahead. So, I think that's what it is. People think, well,
Right.
I don't want to lose anybody. Well, in any relationship, unfortunately, there are going to be some losses, and so the fear is that, the people are going to, maybe they're afraid they're going to get yelled at. How can you charge so much, and yes, exactly. And,
Right.
I
Or they're
think
going to have to
sitting down
justify
and
it to
writing
somebody,
down,
and they're not ready
have a
to.
conversation
I think
with,
that's part of it too.
with yourself, talking to another customer. Well, how can you charge so much? Well, because I know this is what it is to be in business. And I've had people tell me, well, I have my own business. Oh, do you have a business in my industry? Because every industry is different. What insurances and all of the cost involved, people have no idea. The
Right.
average consumer, for them to get new tags for their car, is under $60. Well, for me, for my truck, it's over $400 a year. So, you don't really understand that so many things, businesses carry a lot of cost.
Right.
It's not the same as what the consumer does. Or if you're in a particular industry, the licensing to be able to pay for all the different things that go into having a business, each industry does have a different cost. And, again, what I say to people, yeah, it is a higher cost. For a higher investment, higher cost. What do you want? Do you want peace of mind? Because I can do the best for you.
Yep.
So.
Well, that's what I found and really appreciated. And
well, that's what I found and really appreciated when you came out to help us with our shower remodel. We were able to take it so far, and then we got stuck. And we knew that if we did it ourselves, we would miss something. It would take us weeks, and we'd have no shower. And I didn't mind the rate because immediately you were doing it that day. I have the part, let me go get it. I'll be back. We're going to block 4 hours and we'll get it done. And it was done. Will I pay for that convenience? Yes. Is my time valuable to have to hang out and wait for somebody? Yes. Is my husband's time valuable? Yes. Is the frustration and the mess valuable? Yes. And I don't always know that people weigh that part either. They just say, oh, well, it's my time. Well, what's your time worth? Just because you don't work out of the house or you don't have an outside career or you have a part-time job, whatever it is, your time's still valuable, as valuable as a full-time person. Give yourself that kind of value. And what is it going to save you to hire somebody to do what you're not so great at or truly have no clue how to do? How much time are you willing to waste on that frustration? It's like I was telling you, when the printer goes wrong, and the stupid driver breaks, it's like, throw away the printer. Go get a new printer, order it from Amazon, have it delivered here.
But,
I didn't have to
and what I like,
mess with it. I didn't have to try
again,
to deal
when
with
you're
drivers
weighing
and
out,
software.
do I do it myself or
have
have someone else do it? Well, if something goes wrong, if I have another company do it for me, then they are the ones that go back and fix it, right? Yeah, but
yes. Hopefully. But you bring up a good point. I run into this in my industry, different than yours. Yours, you put that guarantee on the work and somebody doing it. I do some work, but maybe the box that it sits on, the server that it sits on, I'm a web developer. So the server that it sits on, something happens to that. That's not me. It's your box. And I've had a couple of clients that say, well, but you did it and now it broke. Like, but it worked and something changed over here that I didn't control. I can't guarantee it for every unforeseen circumstance. I can't guarantee it when browsers come out and are new and all of a sudden all the stuff stops working. That's the cost of your business now. That's the cost of doing business is, okay, now we have to upgrade and do it again.
Sure.
So, like you were saying, every industry
another thing about going above and beyond.
And can have different types of guarantees.
We had an incident where 5 years ago, we replaced a part of a sewer line from the house out to the street. There was a part that had bellied out, so we dug that part. The rest was okay. Well, 5 years later, the part where it had connected together separated. Okay, because she chose not to replace the entire line at the time, just the part. Okay, well, right. But we went ahead, we had another company, because we don't have the excavation equipment to dig an entire length. Now we've kind of gotten out of that sewer replacement, but still, we gave her half of her money back to get the entire line done. You know, again, like you said, she had a choice, but.
Wow. Very generous.
Oh, yeah, we had it all initialed and everything, but you know, sometimes
the rest of it might
just
go,
to
and you were
maintain
choosing to do this.
A happy client, she had the whole entire interior pipes replaced. You know, she'd spent on that sewer line $5,000, and then she'd spent to have a water heater updated, all the interior lines done, and put in a new water service, and all of these different things. She'd spent about $8,000 with us. So, you know, sometimes you have to.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And that's what that is, you know.
Yeah. No, that you're investing in the client. Right. No, I understand that. And I've done that many, many times. Those nights I wake up and I'm doing code in my head. It's like, okay, I think I have it. I'm going to just get up and do it, and I'll fix this. So I do understand that. But I also, you know, no, people have to be, I think it's our duty as service providers and product providers to educate and let them know these are the risks. You know, here is what I do. And I do this now. All my clients, I send them, you know, a billing agreement. This is what I bill for. This is what I don't bill for. And, you know that this is covered and this is not. And I can't give you your money. You know, I don't give refunds because I can't give people their money back any more than they can give me my time back that I've invested in their project. So there are times, though, that I'll say, okay, let me throw in a couple of hours and I'll do this for you. But I'm not writing anybody a check. So, you know, we usually come to, it's very rare. I'd say maybe once a year I have one issue come up. Right. And I don't think that's too bad. I mean, that's okay. I can live with, you know, once a year, because every time I learn something more, and sometimes what it means too is I eliminate a service then, or set new boundaries.
Yeah, exactly.
And say, well, this seemed to cause the problem. I'm not doing that again. Yeah, there's certain things that, and my mentors, a couple of them, they said, "Oh no, I don't ever touch that." No way. And so I'm learning. It's like, okay, I'll just look at it and say, oh, this is like that situation. No, thank you. I'm sorry. Let me refer you over to somebody else. You know, sometimes, and sometimes I won't, because I wouldn't want to wish that on somebody else.
That's in trouble.
Because I don't need that. Well, any more than you don't refer any clients to me that
you
are going to
earlier
be
about
awful. No, because I'll come after you.
And so, you know.
So tell me.
Sure. Okay.
Oh, yes. So let's take a break, and we'll come back, and we're going to talk about reputation management, what we can do first to help gain more feedback, some tools we can use or set up, and, you know, different ways we can outreach, and some of the situations that have come up that are not always in our control. So we're going to take a break, and we will be back with Brenda Casey of Casey's Plumbing. There's a little here we are. And we're back. There'll be a break in the show when this airs on SLMA radio that we actually sometimes insert a commercial, sometimes we don't, but I like to leave that dead air for them to edit the audio. But our video one will have me pantomiming, and we will see everything. So I'm back here on SLMA radio with my guest Brenda Casey, who is the owner of Casey's Plumbing up here in Portland, Oregon. I called her in because usually we're always talking about B2B clients, B2B guests, CEOs of various companies that are primarily service providers. I wanted to step into the B2C world because she is a service provider for me, and I really respect the way that they handle their customers, their programs of what they do to ask the hard questions.
Hi.
to continuously improve and learn from any time that they might falter. So Brenda, welcome back. Hello. So we're going to continue our conversation about that delicate area of reputation management. And part of the problem that we're finding, I'm working with you on this right now, you guys get great reviews. You have reviews on Yahoo, on MSN. People give you great reviews. They give you great reviews on Yelp too, yet with Yelp, we're finding an issue because you ask every single person to review you that is your customer. You don't only give the surveys to the good ones, the happy ones. You ask everybody to review you, and yet Yelp is not posting all those live, so your ratings are very skewed compared to the other venues. And I noticed too, and not everybody knows this, on Yelp there's this little thing at the bottom that talks about view the filtered reviews. And if you do, and it even says once you click on the filtered reviews, you have to put in some kind of CAPTCHA thing. You see all the reviews, and you see tons of 5-star reviews for you. But there's this note saying the filtered reviews are not taken into consideration for your overall star ratings. Like, what? And they're doing this at their own logic, which does good businesses that ask the hard, scary questions. Did we do a good job? Yes or no? Go tell somebody. And they are not letting that be posted. And you can't help it that people are happy with your services. And sometimes, you know, you might start, send a newsletter out reminding people, don't forget, and your newsletter goes to everybody. Every single email you have is from all your customers, happy and not happy. And they get the newsletter and they can review you when you say, if we saw you recently or whatever it is, but yet Yelp isn't showing it. So that does hurt businesses. So
Yelp, like I said, is in and of itself. I kind of feel like because we chose not to spend $600 in advertising a month with them, that they have suppressed the good ones and have not allowed them to come in. When we were in negotiation 2 years ago to consider advertising, I was told that the good reviews that were filtered out would slowly filter back in. So I didn't quite like what they were insinuating there,
Well, what's interesting is right on their site, though, I did read about that. So we need to be careful on that. Their policy says that does not affect anything. If you do not advertise with them, it doesn't affect anything. They state that there. I understand how it feels.
Changed.
But we have to be careful what we say is true in fact. Yeah. But it feels, maybe they have, and maybe they put some new policies in place. So I think what we'll do in your case is we will ask for another review of those, knowing that your folks are sincere. But you said that they look for people that are actually participating in other social media venues and writing reviews in other places. So if your folks only have a Yelp account and don't even know about Yahoo and MSN, they're only on Yelp because that's where they look for restaurants. And if they don't bother or have that extra time to go write a review here, write a review there, you're in a way being punished for that.
Well, I feel also bad
that
for
your
my
folks
customer.
are too busy.
Here I've asked my customers to post.
Even though you got a glowing
and they
review.
take the time to post, and then they're not coming up, and they say, well, I put something good on Yelp, but I don't see where it's at. What happened? And, there's not a whole lot that I can force Yelp to post something positive, but
Right. Well, I think I'm going to look into bringing in your filtered ones as a feed, because the filtered ones are glowing and beautiful, and there are a couple negative ones. I will admit that. And it's that same issue you were talking about, sticker shock. They did not pay attention to the quote, because your folks will give a very detailed quote with like a menu. Okay, I want this, don't want that, costs too much. And can do that. But it's the sticker shock. Those are the most negative reviews I've ever heard, or where something was delayed, like you were saying, because another customer was in crisis when you were already there and you couldn't bail on them in the middle of it,
Or what can happen also
something happened
is
and they
that,
needed you to fix it right then. So it does push
something
back
like
sometimes.
this where the survey, positive, the call, everything was great. 2 weeks later, she had heard from her uncle from Florida that they had the same thing done and it only cost X amount of dollars. You got ripped off. Well, first of all, in Florida, they have very different licensing for their plumbers. Here in Oregon, it's a 4-year apprenticeship. You have continuing education.
Yes.
In Florida, you don't have that. So, exactly.
Right. No, it isn't apples to apples, but people don't realize that. And they don't realize the nuances of the slightly different. It can be one slight change that suddenly it's not the same thing. Right. So interesting. I have another client I was showing you earlier. I did a rat card for him because I said, you do great service too. And nobody's talking about you now. I said, you get your people in. I said, can I have your emails so we can send a newsletter out and reach out a little bit more? And he said, oh, emails. Yeah. Well, no, I don't have everybody. He said, what do you mean? They're buying from you right there. He says, yeah, but they don't take the time to fill it out because it's a retail. They're retail. And so they do deliveries and different things and they get those emails. But the ones that walk in, they don't. So we need to do something. So, I made them I made them a poster and we're getting the poster launched for the counter saying, review us, give us feedback, good or bad. We want to hear it. What do you think about us? And then on their little rat card, I don't know if you guys can see, is that backwards for you or forward? Cool. So their little rat card, I put, the little QR code and it's on their poster. So in the store, they can click on it and there they are right then and there. They can check in, they can do whatever they need to.
Yeah.
And he's got to start
also
reaching
the thing
out.
To remember is
because
if you as a business, if you are able to post, a feedback to the customer review, post both to the good, not just the bad, because we tend to want to explain ourselves, just on the bad, but no, reinforce the good ones too,
Well, and the other thing though, you touched on a good point, when people are responding online directly, and it needs to be timely, because you get those notices, if you have taken control of your business profile on Yelp, on Google Places, and everywhere you should, you get the notices immediately. You need to respond within the hour, if you possibly can. And you have to sometimes take a breath, step back, take the emotion out of it, and remember to engage them respectfully. And not attacking, not defensive, not whiny, not proving them wrong, but, oh my gosh, I can't, I'm so upset that this happened to you and that you feel like that. I would like to contact you directly so we can find a solution to your issue. So immediately people see that you've responded.
Right.
You've given them the respect, and you may have even diffused them a bit because you're not telling them they're wrong.
Sure, you're maintaining
you're not saying
the
you
trust.
Didn't do anything wrong. You're saying,
a lot of times I'll say this to a customer, it's obviously that we have done something that you mistrust us, let us start again. One of the things that we say at the end when we give a phone call follow-up, we say, if there is any other questions or concerns, please give us a call. That way we can help you out the very best we can, because sometimes people, when a customer's coming back to you with concern, what they're saying is, I want to still do business with you. And so we don't call them customer complaints, we call them customer concerns.
Yep.
And I'll have the customer and they say, this is just probably a really tiny little thing, but I say, but I thank you. So when a customer calls with their concern, I thank them because I say, you're telling me you want to continue to do business with me. You are a loyal customer, and I appreciate that.
But what you guys do, and I wish more businesses did this, as much as I hate the phone and I hate getting calls later in, you know, the evening or whatever it is, but I appreciate that you guys call back the next day to see it and how was everything. More businesses need to do that scary question, especially service businesses. I think even hairstylists need to do it. Call back. Did it work out for you? Are you pleased? And it's a scary question because sometimes it opens you up for them to be all nitpicky or whatever, especially, you know, stylists and different things. Like, oh my gosh, well, it was fine, but then I can't do it myself. But it opens them up to have a conversation with you. You know, dentists need to do the same thing.
Right.
They, you know, follow up. You got your fillings. How are they feeling? My dentist calls. Our vet calls us. How's Toba doing? Is he feeling better? Was there anything else he needed? And it shows me that he cares, that he paid attention, that I wasn't just shoved through, put the chart away, and I'm done. And same with my dentist. You know, if Bling Dental didn't call me back the next day, I'd actually be kind of crushed that nobody cared enough to check on us or check on my children. You know, I noticed that, you know, they had a problem, or I noticed that they were a little scared, or how their filling worked out. Did the numbness, you know, was all that fine? I really appreciate that. And those are the service providers I choose and stay loyal to, are the ones that care enough to do that extra scary
But what
call.
you're really
Scary,
doing, what you're really doing
yourself
with
up
that
to
follow-up, you're leaving the door open.
Why should I think it's scary?
See, because it's scary sometimes for the customer to call with a concern. You know, they don't want to get anyone into trouble, or, you know, this, that, or the other. Again, by leaving that door open, you know, the communication, because, you know, the fact is, a lot of customers, if they're dissatisfied, they won't tell you and they'll go somewhere else. I've had customers call in and say, you know, this company did this and I was unhappy, and so that's why I'm calling you. And I always encourage, you know, have you had a chance to call back the company? And a lot of them have not. And I said, that company, they're a good company. I've heard a lot of good things about them. I'm sure if you call and talk to the manager, ask for the manager, they'll be sure, you know, to resolve it. Or one time I said, did you talk to the manager or just the person who answered the phone? She said, just the front desk person. I said, you need to go up a little higher up the food chain. And, you know, it got resolved, you know. But again, a lot of customers, they'll just move on to something else. So you really do need to know what's going on in your customer's head.
Well, and I know that for my own business, when somebody contacts me kind of out of the blue and starts to complain about how awful the previous person was. Oh, and I had the same problem 2 years ago with another person. And then it's like, uh-oh. And the lights go off. It's like, oh, this is going to be bad. And they're never going to be happy. And they're always going to blame and take no responsibility. So for my business, at least, I've learned to have to take care of myself that way. It's like, you know, this probably isn't a good match. And it's a hard thing to do. And I feel bad for people, but they set themselves up and they don't advocate for themselves. And, you know, for you, they don't advocate for themselves enough. For me, they don't take enough responsibility for, maybe they had a piece in it. And, you know, and I'm okay if they're going to be like that, but to always be the one that gets the blame, if it's always the web person that's the villain, I don't want to now step in because I don't want to be the villain either. You know, when are they going to start talking about me that way? And so when I take on clients that have had issues in the past, I really screen them. And, well, what were the issues? And I'll hear how respectful or unkind they might be towards that person or that business. And if they said, you know, and we probably were in if they say, oh yeah, we were in an upheaval and we probably didn't communicate as well. Okay, I know I can deal with you. We can solve this because now you're willing to learn from that.
And I've had to say to customers, you know, it just doesn't sound like we're going to be a good fit.
Make this be a good thing for both of us.
You're going to turn away work. Well, it's more than just work. I really want a long-term relationship with my customers and turn them into clients. That's why we do 60% of our business is repeat business, you know. And you really need to think about that big, long term.
Right.
It is
huge.
Not typical. 40%
now
is
in
more
your
typical.
Industry, how common is that? That's a huge repeat. Is that typical?
Yes. We belong to an international group.
Okay.
Yes, all the
and you learn this at all your little
plumbing,
conventions you go to,
roofers,
and the
and
panels that you're on for your
electricians are all thrown together. And yes.
Okay.
That's right. That's what it is. So.
Okay. The ones that keep the houses running. No, I do find that, I mean, that's a wonderful thing for you guys to have 60% repeat. I mean, I pride myself that I have clients that I've had for up to 10 years.
We've had customers.
I'm a little different in B2B.
Since day one.
B2C, and people are a little more fickle.
And they'll move different houses, and they'll take us with them, So, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. That's wonderful. That says so much about your company. It's also why I admire you and wanted to have you on the show, because I knew that there are lessons we can all learn, but I think the main thing is reaching out and making sure we do ask, because how else can we all learn and improve? And how can a service company that services consumers
Right, and that is, I train my gals who answer the phone when a customer calls in with a concern. You thank them. Thank you for letting us know. We want to make this right. And that is so powerful because, again, a lot of the times the customer, they don't want to confront either. Right. They want to just, I guess I'll just take that as a lesson learned and move on somewhere else. But they are really trying to be a loyal customer and say, this is what happened and I'd like to get it resolved.
Right. Well, I think you had some great stories and some good advice. If you were to give a couple pieces of advice to a B2C company that is let's go with your specialty, which is a service provider, even though you install products.
Really know,
you're still a service provider.
What are some of the industries, maybe what I say, blind spots? So like in our industry, typically a thing is to just allow customers calling in to go to voicemail, and then you just call them back whenever. Or if a customer calls in with a concern, you never ever call them back. That's kind of a industry standard. So try to figure out those different, do you see what I'm saying? Or they make an appointment, a customer makes an appointment, right? So one of the things that happens a lot of times in our industry is that the person just never shows up and they never call. So, if you can find out what are the, the things that drive people crazy, whatever that service is, and then bring it above, whether it's like a restaurant, things all arrived at the table at different times and the entree was cold, but the, the side dish was hot, and, figure that out. What is it that what drives the customers crazy? Right. Whatever service, and then address that and make sure you can be better.
I think a smart thing too for B2C or B2B too, but especially B2C, check the reviews of your competitors and see the things that people are complaining about and ask, it's the same thing you're talking about, but those specific things, and ask yourself, how would that have been done with me and with our company? And how would we address that so you're better prepared ahead of time? My biggest complaint I get is that people don't have control or know how to do anything. They can't find their accounts. They don't have access to their stuff because somebody's holding it hostage basically to make themselves valuable. The first thing I do is create a file for every client with all their access. And they have it if they want it. I have it too. But
But you want clients to stay with you because they want to, not because they have to.
And be able to function without me. If they...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. I don't want to hold anybody hostage. What a horrible feeling that is. I mean, I probably do 3 rescue missions a month.
Yeah.
For people that are, in hostile situations or, hostage takeovers. And they're trapped and they feel helpless. They feel stupid. And they feel so disrespected. And so that seems to be kind of my niche and my mission, is to make sure I never have a client that feels that way. And even I've had, the one disgruntled client from, recently, if they need their stuff, what can I do for you while you're transitioning to somebody that solves what you need? Let me know. And I will get you those files. I will get you that access. I'll answer questions I can, because I need you to be comfortable wherever you are with the information I have. I want you to be able to take that and use it to make it easier for them too. So everybody can be successful.
Having the customer in control as much as possible, such as someone has a plumbing emergency, whatever it is. We come out, we offer, several different options to let the customer make the choice.
Right.
Let them, we educate them, we do. But there's also, we can do the Band-Aid option.
Well, you educate.
Don't know how long it'll be.
You educate very well.
It'll take, before it happens again. Or we can give you a top option or a middle option. It just different things like that. So they do feel like they are more in control, because all of a sudden your water heater springs a leak. You need to be able to right away. Okay, here's what you're looking at.
Right. Well, what I enjoyed, Tom, my husband, enjoyed too, when your technician came out, I think he had an iPad with him. I don't remember what the device was, but he had something, and he wanted to show us something to explain it better. He spent the time, looked it up, and then walked us through it to educate us, and then said, do you have any questions?
Sure.
Does this make sense? And he kept asking those questions till we felt we know exactly what he's doing. We know that we can't do it, but I felt very much in control of that service.
Right.
And I felt
and the feedback we get is people love how they took the time
to educate. And
they were not in a rush. They were thorough, and that's just all of how we conduct our business. Because I have, 80% of our clients are women, and I have gotten feedback from women, some of the things that have happened to them with service providers, like they just go in, don't even talk to them, say, well, this is what's wrong and this is what's going to be cost, and, not explaining anything about what led up to it, how can I prevent it in the future, all of that. So.
Right. Yep. Well, Brenda, this has been a delightful visit, and I, love bragging on you, of course, but I also appreciate, the conversation that we had to maybe help some B2C customer clients, or companies be more successful moving forward, and maybe even some B2Bs could learn from it too. So thank you so much. And again, if you are in the Portland area and you need a plumber, the Picky People's Plumber is Casey's Plumbing. CaseysPlumbing.com, CASEYS Plumbing.com. And I'll look forward to talking to you again soon, and best of luck with your successes. Thank you so much, and look for us, folks, on theslma.com. That is THESLMA.com to see all the information about how to manage your sales leads, be more successful in your lead nurturing.
Thank you.
And
Bye.
To continue to build your businesses. So we'll look forward to seeing you again on SLMA Radio. Thank you so much. Bye, Brenda. Bye.